Why am I not interested in sports journalism anymore? Before telling you why, let me explain some things first. 2 hours before my first ever appearance in a radio show as a producer, Yorgos, the radio's manager, gave me one of the most interesting and important advices regarding my job. He told me that after going in that studio and the red light is on, there is no turning back. If I keep doing this for a long time, I will find myself losing my identity as a fan of my favorite club. He said that maybe I will become just a supporter or completely neutral. I have to admit that at the time it seemed kind of weird and a bit too much. What was not too much though was what happened years after that predictive advice. I am now almost indifferent about the club I support, and even more so for any sports events which are not at top level or really entertaining. So how did this happen? As some of you may know, I began my career on the radio as a producer and a simple sports fan. I later studied, became a journalist, and finally quit in 2016, 8 years after my first appearance on the radio. During those years, I was always truthful, honest, and my main goal was to be the person you can trust even if you disagree with. During my first 4 years, I was mainly concerned about my favorite club, Aris Thessaloniki, revealing shady behaviors, transactions, or personalities who were harming it. I was ridiculed, threatened, and sometimes even physically harmed by fanmates, older journalists, the club's personnel, and the hooligans who were running the whole show behind the scenes. When everything I was saying was finally visible to everyone due to the club's bankruptcy, many people came to me to apologize for their behavior during the past years. To be honest, atonement was not enough. I expected that the club's status quo would try to undermine or silence me, but I was frustrated by my fanmates who didn't trust me even when I stated facts or gave them proof. This was a major blow to my identity as an Aris fan. I felt like I could not belong to a group of people who don't listen to logic or facts. During those months of emotional and professional uncertainty, I saw something I couldn't believe and went to seek advice from another senior member of the radio. I asked him, how is it possible that I'm still that unimportant guy when I was proven to be truthful for all these years and actually did a better job than the well-paid famous colleagues, while some of them who were a part of that conspiracy, by either hiding the truth or lying to people, kept their jobs and are unaffected after a quick apology or even none. How is that possible? Christos then gave me the second important and great advice of my career. He said, you have to get used to it because this is the reality of sports journalism. Most of the fans don't love their clubs as much as they love the clubs winning. People will always prefer a beautiful lie than a difficult truth. When you try to find a reasonable, logical, or even harsh way to describe what just happened, the serious and famous journalists will always find the best excuses. This is why not only the fans will listen to them more, but the media owners will hire them more frequently. You are painful to your boss. You will have lawsuits against you. Sponsors could back out if there are conflicted interests. And of course, the other journalists will always have better access to the clubs than you. So either accept who you are or change to be like them. This cynical and very real advice made me think that I can't change to something I don't believe in, and I definitely cannot become someone else just for fame or money. So I made a difficult decision, which was the obvious and I believe the correct one. I began realizing that I can use my power as a public speaker for other, more important issues I was already interested in but didn't fully commit until then. But now I felt the time was right to make it my main goal. Racism, xenophobia, sexism, hooliganism, homophobia, inequality, civil rights, and much more. During the last years of my career as a journalist and a radio producer, I tried to get involved in raising awareness while using the platforms I already had. That was something my supervisors were not really happy about, but as long as I had good ratings and a small salary, they couldn't push me too hard. After I quit my job as a journalist, I followed another career path through which I would be able to actually do something about the issues I was talking about. I became a humanitarian worker, and this is why I left Thessaloniki in the first place and Greece later. Hypothetically speaking, maybe I wouldn't be so cynical and still love Aris as much as I did in the past. But the audience, they prefer the uneducated bigots who promote violence, the consequential journalists who pretend to be serious but try to rely on your emotions, and all those old guys who have nothing challenging or new to say and have been the same for decades. This is why it was so easy for me to quit, because you choose to follow and promote the above mentioned, while many young journalists are not given a chance to shine. So in the end, you get the old-fashioned, biased and dependent journalism you deserve. I will conclude with this statement. I am still a supporter of Aris Thessaloniki, but I am not a fan. I will probably never write anything about it ever again, and my life will just go on unaffected by my team's progress. I know it must seem unreal to some of you, and I expect a few people calling me names, calling me traitor, coward, someone who never really loved Aris. I don't care though, because I don't regret the years I spent following and loving this club, since I made really good friends and learned very important lessons through that process. I just evolved. I got older, wiser, and changed my interests, which is not only natural, but I would argue it's even desirable. So here we are. If you still want to follow me after what I just said, you're more than welcome to join me in this journey of experiences with a whole world of interesting topics to cover. If not, it has been a pleasure. Be safe, happy, and open-minded. See you later. Ta λέμε.